Welcome to Body by Design. I'm your host, Blue Driver, a women's strength training and metabolism coach. I went from years suffering hormone imbalances, looking soft and bloated, to symptom-free and building muscle for a toned athletic physique. Since then, I've made it my mission to empower women to take control of their own health, hormones and body composition. So grab a cup of coffee and let's build your body by design. Welcome back, and this is episode 4, The Long Game. Today I'm going to dive into that perception of getting the body you want in 12 weeks, because that's not really going to happen. You can drop a lot of weight in 12 weeks if that is your goal, but the sustainability of that afterwards is not a reality. Even the sustainability of within that 12 weeks, if you're not set up right going into that 12 weeks, your deficit's too low and all those sorts of things, it can mean that you can actually end up failing in that 12 weeks. And there's a lot of studies out there and evidence show that 95% of people that go into weight loss, a weight loss 8-12 weeks program, and then that's the end, they gain all that weight back. This is more about a sustainable, healthy lifestyle. If you want true change and you actually want health and you want strength and you want that strong, athletic looking body, the reality is it is not in 12 weeks. If you invest 12 months, stop yo-yoing in and out of all these different ideas and trying to chop and change your programs every 5 minutes, and actually put down a long-term plan of your body goals, 12 months time, I guarantee you will be a different person. 12 to 18 months, 12 months at least is what you need. And in that time, you're also going to learn how to sustain it. So I wanted to start with the most common example. Everyone seems to want fat loss. Yes, there's a lot of you that want muscle gain as well, and we are a highly under-muscled society, and we do need to start placing more emphasis on gaining muscle, not just fat loss. But let's just explore fat loss and this whole 12 weeks, because I do get a lot of people dropping into my DMs saying to me, how much is your 12-week program? I am not a 12-week program. I'm a coach that's going to get you strong and get you healthy and set you free with the skills and the capabilities to maintain that and control your body composition forever and a day. How freeing does that actually sound? Knowing that you're never going to be taken over by weight gain or weight loss or not being able to build muscle, actually having the skills that you know at any time you can jump in and out of any of these phases and create the body and the changes that you want because you have learnt how. I go back to my analogy of driving a car. When we first start driving a car, it's like, oh my God, stay in the lines, change gears, clutch. There's so many things to think about. But these days, you'll drive to the gym, get out the car and won't even remember the drive because it's so on autopilot. Because you learned a skill and it took time. Having the body you really want takes time and skill. It's not just do a program. You actually have to build the skill. And the other thing as well is you can get a body you might like, but do you have the health with it? Do you have the longevity? People who go into extreme measures might get really fast results, but it is at the cost of their health. So this is about the long game where you improve your health and improve your health markers, whether it is balancing hormones, increasing strength, increasing muscle mass, losing body fat, maybe all of them, doing all of that. And the body you desire follows the health. If you get your health right, your body will be a result of good health. And that's a sustainable way to do it. So rounding back to the 12 weeks and really breaking down what that would look like for fat loss. Now, if you jump into a 12-week program without knowing anything about your body and your calories beforehand, you're just going to be slashing calories willy-nilly. And this can put you in too large a deficit or a deficit that's not enough. And then you think you're failing. If you go into a large deficit, it's too much for your body to handle. So a responsible fat loss phase, the actual fat loss phase should be 12 to 16 weeks, depending on how much you need to lose and how your body is handling it, because you will get diet fatigue. You will get health markers that start to fall, like your sleep, possible hormone disruptions, things like that. You need to be keeping an eye on all those health markers and keeping yourself healthy in it, and come out when that is too much for your body. And sometimes people need to go back and do multiple phases and go into fat loss, come back to maintenance, bring their body back into homeostasis, make sure that it's feeling strong and healthy again, and then go back into another fat loss phase. But for argument's sake, if you came into my program and you didn't have any hormone issues, didn't have any gut issues, and you just needed to lose body fat, plain and simple, there's not many people out there that come to me like that. They generally have some sort of health issues there. But say you came to me like that, you're still looking at 12 to 16 weeks of the fat loss phase. However, before we can even put you into a fat loss phase, we need to understand your personal calories that maintain you and maintain your weight. That's going to require tracking for a couple of weeks. Now, yes, there's calculators out there that you can use, the TDEE, that will give you an estimated guess on your calories by your height, your age, your body weight, and how much you exercise. Those calculators, for one, are based off male studies. They're not based off female studies. They cannot take into consideration your metabolic health and at what rate you are burning and using fuel. They also can't take into consideration what you currently think is high intensity or hard work compared to what I might consider high intensity and hard work. And they could be two very different things which produce different results. So they can be a great starting point, and I can often use those if people have got no idea and haven't been tracking at all. I might set some calories based on a calculator, but I don't go, that's your maintenance calories, now here's the deficit. We actually work out if that is your true maintenance. So it's a starting point. Then you need to track for 2 to 3 weeks and collect all the data. You set your calories, you set your macros, you eat to those calories and macros, keep it all consistent, and you do that for 2 to 3 weeks, weighing daily, taking in your average weekly weight, doing your measurements weekly, and where are you tracking? If your weight is roughly the same over a 2 to 3 week period, your measurements are roughly the same, you are in maintenance calories. Now, from there, if you want to go into a fat loss phase, you would reduce by 10 to 15%. The reason why we reduce for 10 to 15% is we want to maintain health markers for as long as possible. And if you were to slash 30, 40% of your calories and try and maintain that, you're going to lose strength in the gym. You're going to lose sleep because you're hungry all the time. You're going to have, your body's going to force you to want to eat. So you're going to have extreme hunger that can lead to binging. You can have extreme cravings that can lead to binging, and people feel like a failure, but it's actually a natural response for your body to do that when your calories are at an extreme low. Now, are you going to feel some hunger in a fat loss phase? Yes, and that is normal, and you will be okay. Will you get some slight sleep disturbances towards the end? Yep, sure you will. Will you lose some strength in the gym? Yep, so we need to manage your strength training program in a way that you can still execute it well enough to maintain the muscle that you have. But you don't want to slash them that far that it's to the point you can't maintain it. So 10 to 15% is a great place to start. And generally you can squeeze a 12 to 16 week phase out of that. In that time, we are monitoring the data, monitoring your compliance, monitoring your muscle mass, and making sure that you're losing weight at a healthy rate of loss, not too fast and not too slow. That phase itself will run for 12 to 16 weeks. At the end of that 12 to 16 weeks, you then need to come back up to maintenance. But you are going to weigh less. You're going to have lost a little bit of muscle. That is inevitable. The idea is to reduce that loss as much as possible. And you will have some metabolic adaptation. Your body will naturally downregulate some because you have less food. So there's two ways that you can be reversed out, depending on your health markers at the time, how long you were in it, and how well we think you might bounce back from that information. So sometimes we can bring your calories up immediately and bring them up to what we think might be a new maintenance for you. It is going to be slightly less than your original maintenance. So again, if we bring you straight back up, it's going to be at a slightly lesser maintenance. And again, we do that tracking for 2 to 3 weeks to establish, is this your maintenance? Or are you gaining weight too fast? Or are you still losing weight and your calories need to come up? Or have you found your balance now? And that is your true maintenance. So that is still going to take 2 to 3 weeks to do that, at least in the best case scenario. The other way to do it is if you showed a fair bit of stress and you were in there closer to the 16-week mark, and also your emotional reaction, your mental perception around increasing your calories after being reduced for so long. Also, your capacity to eat again. Some people's hunger at the end actually reduces and their appetite reduces. So the thought of going up in calories again is quite a lot. And in those cases, we might go, right, we're just going to increase you by 100 calories a week and increase you and find your maintenance from there. But again, you're looking at a 2 to 4 week process doing that depending on how low you went in your calories. And you want to know what maintenance looks like for you in your portion sizes, in the way you balance your meals, and the way it maintains your body. And that takes a little bit of learning and observation and getting used to. So overall, you're going to be looking there alone, 2 to 3 weeks to start, 12 to 16 weeks. Let's take the minimum out of all of this. Let's take the minimum ranges that I've put in there. You are looking at 16 weeks at an absolute minimum. In the best case scenario that you have a fantastic starting point, you're just going to jump in, find your maintenance calories, lose some weight and come back up to maintenance, and there's nothing happens along the way. At a minimum, that is 16 weeks. Then you might go, I don't want to track macros anymore. I actually want to be able to be a little bit freer, and I just want to use macro tracking as a tool every now and then. So you might go, I want to move towards a bit more like intuitive eating. And so that takes time to learn intuitive eating. And again, monitoring the data as you intuitively eat and try and do life. And in that time, you might also want to consider, I've done this. You might have allocated a period of time where you knew you weren't traveling, you didn't have any special events, and you could fully focus on giving commitment to fat loss. So what happens in maintenance when you actually have these events or you go and travel? It's a really good idea as part of this long-term learning of this skill to be at maintenance or to approach events and traveling when you are doing tracking, so you can understand what it looks like, what those different foods and being out of routine is going to do to your body, so you know how to manage that moving forward. We've lost the skill of intuitive eating in the modern world. So many packaged foods, we wouldn't even know what's in it to understand what it does to our body. And we just eat without thinking about balanced meals. So intuitive eating doesn't actually mean just go out and eat whatever you like. and feel like at the time. I can feel hungry and feel like I want to eat a huge meal, but is that actually true? Your hunger cues can be off after being in a fat loss phase. You might need to just start learning hunger cues, because if you got to a point where you needed fat loss, you didn't have intuitive eating. You weren't listening to your hunger cues. And there is some restriction. Intuitive eating doesn't mean free for all. It does mean that you know intuitively, like you just automatically know, if I sit down and look at a plate, let's face it, we're in a society of serving huge meals. You go to a pub, they serve a meal, it's massive. You need to be thinking about the rest of your day and, am I eating this whole portion? There needs to be some sort of restraint in there. So intuitive eating and navigating special events and travel and just normal life takes time as well. And this is where I go back to 12 months of, if you actually put 12 months into tracking and doing all the phases, do a fat loss phase, do a muscle build, do maintenance while you're traveling and special occasions are coming up. And when you track and look at the data and reflect on how you feel and how your body is reacting, you actually learn what is good for you and what is not. And there are times where sitting in maintenance and not much is happening is okay to be in as well. I get clients that can be in maintenance, learning about it, and then all of a sudden they go, you know what, my digestion's gone off all of a sudden, and I don't know why. I'm sitting in maintenance, then we start digging into their macro tracking diary, and we go, oh, you've started having mango in your morning shake. Mango can be a little bit irritating for people. Let's remove that and see how your digestion goes now. Digestion settles down. Okay, introduce it for a day or two. Digestion goes off, pull it back out. Digestion goes down. There you go. You've just done a test and measure for what foods agree with you, because if you irritate your gut, you're actually going to have a lot of inflammation, and that is going to reflect in your body composition. You're going to hold inflammation and fluid retention, and that's going to have an impact on the look of your body. So when we talk about changing our body composition and wanting that look, it does come from health. You can get a look but not be healthy. But if you get health, your body will just follow as a result. So this is where I really don't like seeing 12-week programs out there, because it doesn't even give you enough time for a fat loss. For a proper fat loss phase that you know how to maintain at the end of it, so you don't gain all that weight back, is going to take you an absolute minimum 16 weeks. But we can be looking up to 16, 19, we could be looking up to 21 weeks even for a fat loss phase. If you have more to lose, or if your body's faring well in that fat loss phase, and you can get 16 weeks out of it, but you took 3 weeks to find your maintenance, and it took you 3 weeks to establish your maintenance afterwards. And that's without learning anything else. So that's an idea of what a fat loss phase can look like. The other thing is what if you want to build muscle? We should be spending more time in a build phase than we do in our loss phases when we build muscle. And when we build muscle, we do go into a surplus. There is a recomping phase for early starters, which is a whole other business. But if you've been training for a while, you need to go into a calorie surplus to be able to build muscle. Now, you want to do that in a very planned way, so you don't just blow out and gain too much body fat. Now, as long as you've got that plan and you know how many calories, it's the same thing. What's your maintenance first? If you don't know what your maintenance is, you don't know how to just put yourself in a very slight surplus. You risk overshooting. So again, we're going to establish your maintenance phase. Building phases really, if you want true results, 6 to 12 months for a building phase before you go back in. And then at the end of the build phase, you have surplus body fat that you didn't want but required to build the muscle with it. So a build phase is not just a build phase. You've still got to do a bit of a fat loss phase at the end of it in a way that's going to maintain as much of that muscle mass as possible. I've personally just been through 18 months, 2 years of a body composition change. I started at a point and I went, I want to start with a fat loss phase so I could get down as low as possible so I had longer to run with a build phase without having too much body fat. So often build phases need to start with a fat loss phase first. So I did a 16-week fat loss phase. I got down quite low, lower than I wanted to be, knowing that I was going to spend a lot of time in a build phase and I needed as much runway as possible to give me as much time in a build phase as possible without physically being uncomfortable and needing to bring the body fat down. I spent 14 months all up in a build phase, coming out of the fat loss phase, reversing out, and then building. And then 16 weeks again at the end of it in another fat loss phase. So you add all of that up and you're looking at over 18 months to do that whole phase. But the before and afters clearly show muscle change, And I have shape and I look like I lift. You know, if that's what you really want, if you really want to change your body, it is not hidden in a 12-week program. Fat loss, recomp, or muscle gain. None of it is 12 weeks. You need to start realizing that it is long term. And if you get someone and you invest in yourself and get a coach that you gel with and do 12 months with them and do these phases with them, really learn how to track, learn what foods work for your body, learn how to keep yourself on track when you're on holidays, when you go through special occasions, when it's appropriate to say, today's not a tracking day and that's okay. If you learn all those skills and really take in what your coach is doing with you, and a good coach will teach you these skills, not just hand you a meal plan. They will teach you and guide you. At the end of that 12 months, you will be able to walk away and do whatever phases you like to continue your journey. And I guarantee you, if you invest that 12 months into you, into your health, that you will be an entirely different person at the end of it, not just a different body. There is a different person at the end of it. There comes this discipline and this dedication and this contentment that flows on to everything in your life. I've been doing this well over 5 years now, and it has changed many aspects of my life by prioritizing health and prioritizing me. So though a lot of people are chasing those body changes, if we actually chase longevity, muscle mass for elderly years, I'm not going to be that 80-year-old laying on the floor that was too weak to get herself up after she fell over. I just won't be. And the only way to do that is keep that muscle mass. The studies are showing many of the later diseases in life can be risks lowered and prevented. Muscle mass and health, balancing our hormones. And all these things I've spoken about haven't taken into consideration that after years of not choosing health and not choosing to prioritize that, you're likely to have hormone issues, gut issues that all need resolving before you can jump into a fat loss phase. You may need to sit in a recomp phase so you're getting adequate calories and just build muscle and lose fat at a slower rate so you can also work on your health. I know I did that for about 3 years. I worked on my health first and I did 3 years of body comping. And then I went into this more recent 18-month plan that got me to where I am now. But I needed to do that. I wanted the muscular looking body 5 years ago. But I'm well and truly into my 40s. I'm heading to my 50s at currently 47 years of age. I started this in my mid 40s, and we have a declining muscle mass at that age. So I was battling that. We had some significant life events with my partner's health and family dynamics that were extremely stressful over the years. And I know that stress is a bigger killer of gains than anything, but I still leant into it. And I am healthier now than I have ever been, than I ever was in my 20s. The confidence, the strength I feel, everything. I feel so capable in life because I just started prioritizing health. And the more I prioritize my health, though I need to make time for the gym 4 times a week, 3 times a week, depending on what program you're on, and I prioritize prepping some food. That doesn't mean that you have to prep every single meal on a Sunday and, spend hours doing that, but organize yourself and think in advance has actually won me back time. When you get used to it, it wins you back time and you become more efficient. I've done all of this from having little children, 4 little children. Our children are now older and I have 1 left at home. But in this time, I've prioritized health from having little children, working full time in a management role in health, which required long hours. And I still found time to prioritize my health and invest in the long game. And now it's paying back dividends. And I wouldn't have it any other way. So we need to flip this mindset of where is the quick fix to get what I want? Where is the quick fix for the hormones? Where is the quick fix for the body I want? Where is the quick fix for the fat loss? Whatever element it is that you're looking at, you need to understand it's the long game and it actually includes all elements: your hormones, your gut, your muscle mass, your fat, all of those. If you don't have the body that you want, I can guarantee you need to touch on all of those: health, body fat, muscle mass. You will need all of them addressed because you don't have the body that you want. And any person that has the body that you want came from a place where they chose to live differently, invest in the long game, invest more than 12 weeks to build the health and body that they wanted. So next time you think that there is a quick fix program, a supplement that will do it, think about the time you're actually going to waste jumping from diet to supplement, looking for that change, and then you just go back to where you were. Some of them gets results straight away, we know that. But then all of a sudden the health fails. You go on keto, you felt great to begin with, you lost all this weight, and the longer you sustained it, your hair started falling out, your energy lagged, your hormones were terrible, you had problematic periods. All that time you wasted doing that when you could just invest in a healthy, sustainable way, build the muscle that you need for health, and the body fat will reduce with it. And all of a sudden you have this, not only this body that you've wanted, but the health that sustains it, the skill and the education that sustains it, that frees you from being a captive of your body image and never being able to control it. Because knowing how to adjust your body, I don't have fear of going into a build phase. Will I gain body fat? Sure. I know that, but I know I'm going to gain muscle too. But I also now know how to get that body fat off very easily. I'm going to do another round of building. I'm coming to the end of a fat loss phase. For the rest of summer, I'll sit in maintenance where life is a lot more flexible, food is a lot more flexible, and I'm going to enjoy that time and enjoy my leaner looking physique through the summer months where it's shown off a little bit more. There's nothing wrong with that. And then through winter, I'll do another build phase, and I'm not worried. I'm not worried that I will gain the extra kilos with some body fat because I know exactly how to get it off. And I know how to do the body phase. I know how to do the build phase that I'm actually building muscle. I know when I'm building muscle and when I'm not because I track the data. I invest that time into that long game and I know what's happening. And the freedom I feel by knowing I can be in any phase I want to be at any time. And at any time I can go, yeah, I've had enough of building. I'm just going to cut this fat and go maintenance. I could sit in maintenance for a year if I wanted to and then go back to muscle building. I can change it at any time I like because I've got the skill. And that's what I pass on to my clients. But it's not a 12-week program. It's not a 3-month investment. You need to think about investing longer. And if you have the capacity to invest in a good coach for 12 months, I guarantee you will be a different person at the end. And I've never met anyone who's regretted it. Make 2024 your year, the year that you prioritize you. I've become a better partner, a better mother, at the time, a better employee out of everything that I got from this. And when the shit hit the fan with life and my partner had cancer came back, I had something to lean into to help me through that because he needed me to be strong, to be mentally capable, to carry the load so he could get through that. I had to be there for him. And it sounds crazy, but having these skills and having this to lean into was the only thing that got me through. I was able to be there for him. I wasn't consumed by my own hormone imbalances, my own gut issues, my own ill health, my own emotional battles with not being happy with what I look at in the mirror, my own emotional battles of feeling out of control of my body. All that was under control, and I leant into that harder and was able to be strong for him. It flows on to so much more. And I don't know how to express that enough to people, to how the long game is what will build your life, not just a body. So if you want true change, you do need to invest in the long game. You do need to accept, you need to change what you're doing, because whatever you're doing now has produced the results that you have. And you can't keep doing the same things and expect to get a different result, whether it's that because you haven't prioritized your health or because you are prioritizing your health, but you don't have the skills and the knowledge given to you, that you're going to these extremes that are causing more damage unintentionally. But these things need to change. And is it that when you prioritize, you're looking for the quick wins, the instant gratification? Think of where you could be now if you hadn't have invested in all these quick schemes and added all that up. I bet you've done more than 12 months of quick schemes over the years trying to get that health and body that you want. Play the long game. Put a plan in place from the beginning. Plan 12 months, not just, I'm going to lose weight. That's not a plan. That's a destination. You need to actually put a plan in place. When I wanted to build that muscle, I planned with my coach. We are here. To get to here, I'm going to have to build a lot of muscle. To build a lot of muscle, I'm going to have to put a lot more weight on, body fat and muscle. To be able to do that without going extreme fat gain, I need to reduce my body fat now. So we do a fat loss, we do a build, then we do a fat loss, with the phases in between of coming up to maintenance and then phasing into the other one. There's periods in between that you've got to phase in and out. But it was a plan. It was a long-term plan to get that goal. Make 2024 about you. Prioritize your health, and prioritize your body goals. You deserve it. You really do. And with that, I want to say thank you for listening to another episode of Body by Design. And I'm here to help you design your body. And if you found this valuable, feel free to leave a review and share it on social media, tagging me at strengthtraining.nutritionist, and I'll catch you in my next episode.